What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Let's just get this one straight out of the way. CM Punk returns to WWE. What the hell? What the hell is going on? Honestly, this has just blown my mind. After almost 10 long years, CM Punk is back in WWE. But not only that, the night was pretty fantastic. Of course, we had the War Games match and we had 5 phenomenal fights booked for the show, including 2 title bouts, 2 War Games matches, and what was sure to be a brutal grudge match. Join us now as Wrestlelamia recaps the show and looks at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new website, Wrestlelamia.com. Now, the first match of the night was a women's War Games match as Bianca Belair, Shotzi, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch took on Damage Control of Bayley, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Sky. The babyface team had the advantage of which team had the extra competitor thanks to the Ruffles Potato Chips poll. However, the extra wrestler advantage doesn't amount to much as it usually does when the heels gain it. The match featured some excellent weapon spots, including one where Io Sky placed a trash can over her head and dove off the top of the cage onto all the competitors. War Games begins with Asuka entering the match as the last competitor, and it's a hellacious back and forth battle. However, the babyfaces wear the heels down and Bayley sacrifices herself several times during the match to take finishes intended for her teammates. Ultimately, it's not enough as the rest of Damage Control is down and unable to help her when Becky delivers a manhandle slam to Bayley off the top rope and through a table. Bianca Belair, Shotzi, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch win the women's War Games match. Backstage, several WWE superstars are chilling backstage when a returning R-Truth shows up. Yeah, it wasn't just Punk who returned, R-Truth even showed up with a return. Next up is the Intercontinental Championship match as champion Gunther takes on The Miz. Now, The Miz starts off strong, taunting Gunther and targeting the big man's legs, undoubtedly hoping to take him off his feet and possibly submit him later with a figure 4 leg lock. The Miz shows tremendous heart and gets several hope spots, including a near fall, but he's forced to tap out when Gunther traps him in the Boston Crab. Gunther retains the Intercontinental Championship. Next up, it's Santos Escobar vs Dragon Lee. Escobar wastes no time going after Dragon Lee and tries to injure his leg the same way he did to Ray. Dragon Lee puts in a strong showing, but a south of the border destroyer and phantom driver gets the Duke for Santos Escobar as he manages to win the match. Next up is the Women's World Championship match as champion Rhea Ripley takes on Zoe Stark. Zoe takes it to Ripley with a series of powerful strikes while also taking some serious offense from the Eradicator. However, Ripley catches Stark slipping and lands the Riptide to retain the Women's World Championship. And finally, it's time for the main event. It's the men's War Games match of the Judgment Day of Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and JD McDonough and Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and a returning Randy Orton. Now, War Games starts, but Randy Orton is still missing as Seth Rollins and Finn Balor start the match. The heels have the main advantage as they use it to wear down their opponents. However, Drew McIntyre's obsession with Jey Uso means he's not exactly a team player. Things look bleak as Randy Orton is nowhere to be found, but the Viper isn't going to let Cody down and shows up, thwarting a Money in the Bank cash-in and leading to the babyfaces to victory. The men's War Games match winners are Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Randy Orton. The babyfaces celebrate in the ring, and the Survivor Series trademark graphic comes on the screen. We all think it's over, but it's not over just yet. After the match, the babyfaces celebrate as thoughts of CM Punk's return begin to fade. But fortunately for fans, Cult of Personality hits and Punk makes his epic return, celebrating with the crowd as Survivor Series goes off the air. What an incredible return. But that was our quick recap of the show. What about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly? Well, we'll start off with the good as always, as number 1, a strong start, a strong story. The Survivor Series started off with a bang by booking the Women's War Games match as the opener. The women delivered a good enough match, including some wild spots such as Io Sky placing a garbage can over herself and diving over the top of the cage onto her opponents. The match told 2 gripping stories, including Lynch and Charlotte Flair reconciling their past differences. It also showed how invested Bayley is in Damage Control as she broke up numerous pinfalls and submission attempts against her teammates and even took some moves meant for her teammates, such as a spear from Charlotte Flair. Bayley's commitment to her team will no doubt be to no avail as her exit from the group seems inevitable and her teammates will blame her for taking the fall. Number 2, informing the fans. Michael Cole and Corey Graves did a good job filling in the details of some of tonight's matches. For example, they noted early on in the Women's War Games match that if a wrestler exited their cage, their team would forfeit the match. This was a useful piece of info, especially for fans waiting to see whether Bayley would bail out. The announcers also explained details that casual fans might not notice, such as Santos Escobar's lucha libre background and the fact that while he may not be using many lucha moves, he knows how to counter them. The announcers' outstanding work made up for the usual nonsense from Michael Cole, such as him stating matches were over when everyone knew there would be false finishes. Number 3, R-Truth is back. R-Truth is back, and while he was stuck in a cheap plug for Survivor Series sponsored food product, it's always good to see him back. Truth has been out with an injured quad for over a year and his absence has been felt. Truth always adds some fun to whatever show he's on, and we can't wait to see where he'll show up next. Number 4, where's Randy? Or was Randy Orton gonna stiff his War Games teammates? Well, that was a question fans were asking as Survivor Series progressed and Randy Orton was nowhere to be found. While Orton had good reason not wanting to help Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes told his teammates not to worry. This created some additional suspense for War Games, creating the possibility that the babyfaces will not only have to deal with the man advantage, but find themselves working a 5-4 handicap match. Number 5, can they coexist? A kudos to WWE for taking the can they coexist trope and making it work by putting a fresh spin on things. This started with the women's War Games match, where Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch's participation in the War Games match actually made them realize what made them friends before falling out. This was good storytelling, as was the next use of the trope, this time in the men's War Games. Here the baby faces were all on the same page, with Seth Rollins even shaking Cody's hand, presumably to put to rest their bad blood from their 2021 feud. Things weren't so pleasant with the Judgment Day, however, as Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest gave each other the stink eye, making fans wonder if they might start slugging it out. Number 7, Randy's righteous return. Randy Orton's return was handled superbly, with the WWE announcing it on Raw and making the universe have to wait for Survivor Series to see it happen. However, even the doubts about his arrival kept fans guessing. Like any good hero, Orton showed up in the nick of time, stopping Damian Priest from cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase on Seth Rollins, who looked to be one step away from life support. Orton saved the day, hit an RKO to JD McDonough, well actually a super RKO, and they had fun delivering stereo elevated DDTs alongside his allies to the heels. Orton's return was everything you'd want and felt like a real homecoming as he saved the day, then basked in the fans' adulation. Number 8, wrestlers don't forget. Now tonight's men's War Games match was another example of how the WWE makes sure that wrestlers don't forget the past. Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton have a long history together after their 2020 feud over the WWE Championship, and McIntyre wasted no time going after Orton when the Viper entered the ring. Another way the WWE explored the past was when Randy Orton confronted Jey Uso during the War Games match, signaling to main event Jey that he hasn't forgotten about Uso putting him out of action and suggesting that he was on the back burner until War Games was over. It'll be fascinating to see how things play out here. And finally, the WWE also played up on Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes' past as they shared a special reunion during and after the match. And handling Punk's return. A CM Punk's return was something off the charts, and as well played as you can imagine. While some news sites are already reporting on Punk having talks with Triple H, the reality is that no one knew for certain whether Punk was coming back. The WWE played its cards close to the vest, and Punk had fun with the social media messages that could have construed either way. Of course, hiding Punk's return was only the part of the project, and how Punk returned was essential too. Here, the WWE brought Punk back, but it didn't give the WWE fans much exposure to him, instead letting them know that Punk is indeed back and making it clear that they'll have to tune into WWE TV to see why he's back and what's next for him. Also, an added plus, Ryback now has to retire since he made that tweet saying that if CM Punk returns at Survivor Series, he's gonna retire. So this is a superb night. But that was a good. What about the bad? Is number 1, so many commercials and product placements. A Survivor Series felt like an infomercial at times, with the WWE squeezing in as many commercials and product placements as it could in between 5 matches. But this isn't the first PLE plagued by too many ads, but it continues to get worse every month. Number 2, a mid-undercard. Tonight's PLE was all about the War Games match, but did the WWE really need to put on 3 undercard matches that could have easily aired on Raw or SmackDown? All 3 matches were by the numbers affairs with largely predictable outcomes, and that served no other purpose than to fill up time between the women and men's War Games matches. As great as the main event was, the WWE needs to step up slightly. Also, of course, with Punk's return, maybe they kept any other shocking matters aside, such as title changes. Now, there was nothing downright ugly. Tonight's main event was well booked, particularly the return of Randy Orton and the return of that other guy, R-Truth. While the WWE never explained why so many wrestlers were going to the top of the cage when an accidental exit from the cage could lead to a forfeit for their team, the show was solid enough for fans to overlook this. Hell, they could have put Mideon vs Jerry Lawler on for 4 hours, and it still would have been good with Punk's return. But there you have it, folks, our recap and review of Survivor Series. What do you guys think of the PLE? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.